Thar is a desert region in the southern part of Sindh province in Pakistan. This region is largely deforested and characterized by sporadic and scanty rainfall with dwindling water resources. Thar also has diverse ecosystems and is home to a variety of fauna and flora, which holds significant conservation value for the national and international community. While famous for peafowls, Thar is also one of the last strongholds for vultures in Asia. South Asian vultures have been one of the most rapidly declining birds in the world, with some species populations recorded to have declined by more than 95% since the 1990s, according to IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, a red list of threatened species. The decline in vultures has resulted in the loss of critically important ecosystem services and has caused a growing range of health concerns and an enormous waste disposal problem. Animal carcasses that were once consumed by vultures are now being left to rot. In the absence of vultures, there have been a significant rise in diseases such as brucellosis, tuberculosis, rabies, and anthrax diseases. Vultures have been rapidly vanishing due to the use of a painkiller called diclofenac, normally administered to livestock. This drug is responsible for renal failures of vultures when they feed on the carcasses with its residues. Given this decline, diclofenac was banned for use on domestic livestock in Pakistan in 2006. Despite the ban, the use of diclofenac continued over the past 2 decades and vulture numbers shrunk rapidly.
Thar is one of the breeding hotspots for vultures, not only for Pakistan but in the region. In the last few years, it has been observed that because of multiple reasons, the vulture population has been declining. So, SECMC along with IUCN, Sindh Wildlife Department and Baanhn Beli have undertaken this project to protect and conserve the breeding grounds of the vultures in Thar, so that their population can increase, as they have a very important role to play in the overall ecosystem of not only of Sindh but of Pakistan.
The project has worked with the objectives of protecting vulture nests in the natural habitat and discouraging the use of banned vulture harmful drugs. At the same time, efforts are underway to encourage administration of vulture-safe drugs for livestock treatment, while creating mass awareness of the importance of vultures and their critical role in the ecosystem services nature provides. To understand the current situation of vultures in Sindh, IUCN carried out a baseline survey of vultures across Sindh at the start of the project. The survey also focused on identifying vulture habitats, along with incidents of the use of diclofenac in communities. Amongst other findings, the report identified Thar as one of the last hotspots for vultures, not only in Sindh but the entire Pakistan. Additionally, the Thar National Park was also pleasantly identified as another sanctuary for vultures.
IUCN has, in partnership, worked with local communities for protection of these overall putting together a protection regime of vulture conservation, and we're getting this upscale to the provincial level and now to the national level, and then we plan to take this success story to the international level.
The survey findings highlighted some interesting findings. During the shortage of vegetation on the ground in Thar Desert, herders are tempted to lop trees for feeding their herds. Thus, they denude the very same trees that house vulture nests. This was a worrying issue reported in the findings, but it helped the teams to adopt a unique approach through which communities were incentivized with some alternate fodder arrangements for protecting trees which had vultures' nests. This approach worked very well, and the project succeeded to get an average of 70 nests of critically endangered red-headed, white-backed and long-billed vultures and endangered Egyptian vulture species, fully protected every year in 3 years of the project life. This was the first time that such a big number of vulture nests were identified. After extensive fieldwork supported by communities, especially the youth groups that were formed under the project. Another significant activity of the project was free medication and vaccination of the livestock, through which a safe alternate drug meloxicam was administered to the animals. Nearly 40,000 livestock were covered, and herders were sensitized to the hazardous impacts of the diclofenac drug they had been using as painkillers for their cattle.
We are thankful to IUCN that brought the best available experts in vulture conservation, conducted the first vulture biodiversity baseline in Thar Parka, and that's not confined only to Thar Parka but is spread all over Sindh province. And we are also thankful to the Sindh Wildlife Department and other government departments who have been collaborating to make this study very useful and productive.
Over the last 3 years, Thari communities and IUCN teams have sighted increasing numbers of vultures quite frequently during their routine outings. This rekindles hope that efforts have been fruitful and vultures will return to Thar in greater numbers in future. While the project has come to an end, considerable momentum has been gathered to ensure communities take the mission forward. Youth groups formed during the course of the project continue their efforts and are motivated to work alongside IUCN, SECMC and Baanhn Beli to bring back these very valuable birds to our environment.